Hi, Homeworthy. My name is Kaitlyn Davis. Welcome to my house in Dallas, Texas. Y'all come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Kaitlyn Davis. I'm a content creator and an influencer. I live in Dallas, Texas with my husband and my son. Welcome to my home. When we were really trying to find our style in our house, I wanted to mix my husband's Southern roots, being a bull rider. He loves that type of aesthetic. We purchased a builder grade house, so we've tried to slowly implement both of our styles throughout our entire house. Welcome to my office. I wanted this room to be really monochromatic, but my designer, she helped me bring in different textures that made it feel a little bit more cozy. I think when I'm working, I do best in more of like an all neutral environment. So we even did this black and white print of Dolly Parton. This is by an artist called Indian Giver, but we did this really cool picture rail to give it a little bit more character. And I love Dolly Parton so much. She is definitely my favorite celebrity and icon, just for everything, the way she acts, the way she dresses, her entire personality. I love her so much. And we ended up doing this with a dining table. It's not actually a desk, so it gives a lot more space, and I love bringing in the dark elements of the burl. And we stacked a couple different books here that are kind of relevant to things that we love. And this art right here is really special to me because it's by Todd Morgenstern. He is a Dallas artist. And my husband being a bull rider, we kind of wanted to do a play on the song, I Was Country Before Country Was Cool. So that's what this says here, but we kept it really monochromatic so it highlighted the entire room and all the other pieces that we have in here. So me and my husband share this office. My son also uses this for his homework. So this is a space that my entire family uses. I wanted it to be good for all of us in the family. So it's not just for me, we all love to use this space, and I love the color scheme. I think it just calms you when you're in here. Adding these chairs with the texture of the rug adds a whole nother layer of interest here, and I think it just makes it feel even more cozy. When we were house shopping here in Dallas, we've actually lived in a few houses here. This one spoke to me because I felt like it had a lot of the architecture with all the arches, and I could easily make it my own without actually changing the walls. So that is really why we chose this house. I think it had a lot of special elements for a house that wasn't custom. And right off the office is the entryway. And I had to have somewhere for my husband to hang his hat, considering he's a cowboy. We have tons of hats everywhere. So I thought this was a really cool way. As soon as you walk into my house, you know exactly who you're getting when you walk in, cowboy hats. And then over here, this is a really cool antique mirror that we purchased not long ago that I think, again, adds in to mixing the antique with the new. This really cool, I think this is travertine, an iron table. We highlighted with different matches. We love to get vintage matches from anywhere we go, travels, hotels, and just collect them here. And right off the entryway is my favorite place in the house, our special little nook. This is my Nook, my designer, Rhodey Holmes. We went shopping for some really special antique art at this showroom, and I asked the lady that owned the store if she had any French or Parisian art, and specifically the Eiffel Tower, because I wanted to highlight that in this little space here. And she said, no, we don't have anything like that. I've seen all of the pieces of art here. They're all hand painted, and then you actually get them framed there as well. So we're going through these stacks and stacks of hand painted art, and this flies out of a stack and it like lands on upside down. So I couldn't even see what it was. I picked it up and it was the Eiffel Tower. And we almost had to stroke, me and my designer, because I'm like, if that isn't serendipitous, I don't know what is. So we bought this art, we had it framed, and that was really the entire basis of this niche. We wanted it to feel like you were in a bistro in Europe. I love having my coffee here. We keep a little arrangement of nuts here for all of us to snack on throughout the day. We added this little bistro table so we could have nuts and coffee here every morning. My son even does his homework here. It is a really functional way that my designer elevated this nook. This has become my favorite space in the house. We also worked with Process Upholstery to create this bench here in Dallas. They were amazing, and I love the color. I think it really brings out all of the hand-painted branches. When I was trying to design this area, we went and got a bunch of quotes for wallpaper, and it was insane. So I thought I would work with a local artist who my designer found, and she completely brought this to life. It's better than I could have ever imagined. So this is the place where we probably spend the most time, and it's a tiny little area in our house. We also added this row of little unique lights on the ceiling. They were can lights, and my designer was like, this is gonna make it feel more French, more special, and a little bit more unique than just having can lights. So elevating the space like this was her idea, and it made a huge difference. I would describe my overall style as a little bit of French Western, not French country, but French Western, because I love the way the Parisians live. I think their style is so effortless, but I also love honoring the grit of a Western inspired design. So really bringing in Western art from local artists here in Texas, mixing with a little bit of French art. And right off the Nook is our dining room, which we just did a full renovation on. Welcome to my dining room. So when we were traveling to the south of France, I noticed that almost all of the roofs were terracotta roofs, and I wanted to somehow bring that into my house, and I couldn't stop thinking about that color. So I worked with my designer to actually find the perfect shade that matched most terracotta roofs. She decided to do a lime wash on the walls, and I love more of a shiny lacquer look. So we did a high gloss on the ceiling in the trim, and this is our first time using a color drenching technique, and I absolutely love it. I think this turned out better than I could have ever imagined it. I also love any type of floral art, so I wanted to bring this in with the bench. I don't really find myself using this space as much, but I love the way I feel in here, and I'll do a couple journaling in here in the morning. I think it makes me feel like I am literally on vacation when I'm in this dining room. So the overall transformation of this room has been incredible. When we were trying to figure out the best furniture for this space, I knew I wanted the walls to do the talking. So my designer really found a ton of more creamy pieces, but again, she loves to layer texture. So this table has a lot of texture to it. This amazing wood bowl she filled with fresh florals just for this today. So I love the color. I think it just pops off the walls. Art again, I love double stacking art, and anything with birds or florals always speaks to me. So when we were shopping for these pieces, I knew that they would just do amazing on this color wall. This mirror has come with me to every single house that I've lived in. I love the mirror. I think it just opens up the space so much by reflecting off all of our furniture in the walls. So adding a really tall mirror to kind of a more condensed room makes it feel so much larger. So this is something that I will never get rid of. I'm gonna pass all of this down to my son. We also did this great olive tree in here, which I think makes everything feel more alive and really brings the outside in. I'm trying to add more greenery. I'm learning a little bit more about how to keep flowers and plants alive in my house, so I'm still a work in progress on that. And right off the dining room, we have this Butlers Pantry, which we also just did a renovation on. I keep seeing these really cool pot rails that people are using for coffee accessories and things like that. So my designer made this come to life for me, and we use this every single day. We love to collect different types of coffee cups and things like that and display them here. So this has become a huge space that we use every day. I mean, I make meals here, I have all my china in here that I'm collecting, and I love to do fresh mint and herbs right here to add into your waters and your teas. And that's a really cool spot there for that. I've never thought of doing that before until my designer told me, let's do fresh mint for your water and tea. So we keep that there, and our measuring spoons, coffee. This space is used way more than I ever thought it would be. My favorite space in the house is definitely the little nook or niche that we just created. I wanted somewhere that I could sit and drink my coffee, do my son's homework with him, or have coffee with my husband. So really using that space that was just a nook for art, we turned into a really functioning space for our family. And right off the Butlers Pantry is our kitchen. And this is my kitchen. When we were purchasing this home, this is the main room that really spoke to me, that I felt like I didn't need to change so much. We just did a couple little changes to make it more us. And I love that they had this display of cabinets where you could really see all the things that you've collected for your kitchen. And I wanted to make this really functional. So my designer helped me put things in here that I'm actually going to use every day, cutting boards, plates, and bowls. So I absolutely love the way this turned out. And when we were shopping for this house, I noticed that this island had a really cool detail on the end. It's almost like they did a framework at the end here. I've never seen that before, so I thought that was really cool. It was a big selling point for me whenever we were purchasing this house, was how open and airy the kitchen felt. I also love a Taj Mahal countertop, so this was really, really cool to me. And then I'm really big on adding those antique elements. So this is a cool spot where you can display your bread, croissants, anything like that in here, especially whenever I'm hosting or having guests over. We've been using this a lot. I'm not the biggest cook. I'm working on it. So this is a space that I've been spending a little bit more time in the older that I get. But I love the way this turned out. We ended up changing out these lights here. I love the two-tone with the brass on the bottom and the bronze on the top. Again, mixing in those really antique elements with some new feels makes it feel really more like us. So if I was thinking of a go-to design tip that my interior designer told me, is mixing new with antique can really make your house feel more lived in, more special, and not sterile. I struggled with buying this home that was already built. Everything was white. I wanted a little bit more character, and I think mixing in antiques with the new definitely gave me the overall result of what we were wanting. And now I'm going to take you to our breakfast nook, which is right off our kitchen. Another one of those architectural details that I loved in our home was this arch here. And it just feels so special to me when you walk in here and you can see the little fountain going off in the pool. Again, makes me feel like I'm on vacation in here. And when we were trying to do this room, my designer found this banquette that just fit so perfectly in this space. It looks custom, but it wasn't. She is so great at finding the perfect pieces to really maximize the space again. So we use this every day. We love to put some fresh florals in our little antique pot here, and really just elevates this whole space with great drapery and furniture that actually fits. I noticed that when I was working with my designer, she taught me a lot about how scale of furniture is everything, and you really can tell when you put time and effort into finding the right pieces, your home feels that much more elevated. So this chandelier I've taken down and put up in 3 or 4 of the houses that I've been to. Every single time I'm like, I have to take the chandelier with me. I love anything antique mirror, and mixing again the antique with the modern really feels like me, and I love the overall ambiance that it gives this room. Now let's go to the living. This is where we spend all of our time as a family, our living room. I find that having a sectional like this, we all pile up on this every single night. We watch movies here. My most used piece of furniture in this house is this sectional. And I think it's perfect. If you're like us and you love to watch movies in your living room, definitely get a sectional. I will never get rid of mine. This has been great for us. So when we were designing this room, again, I wanted to keep it very monochromatic with a couple pops of black and white here and there. Whenever we were designing the living room with my designer, she actually had this piece of art commissioned, again by Todd Morgenstern, the same artist that did my art in the office. He called this the Cooper Davis, and he has it hung in his showroom, and they've sold thousands and thousands of prints of this original. She listed it online because so many people loved it so much. So it's very special that I have the original, and they put my husband's initials, Cooper Davis, right here in this hat down here. So when we were really designing the space of this living room, I loved how it was monochromatic, but it had those blacks, the grays, very masculine, which my husband loves that sort of style. So this is the perfect mix of me and him. And that really speaks whenever you look in our living room. Adding in this Venetian plaster to pop out our fireplace, I think was a huge turning point in the way that this living room turned out, because it feels so much more cozy and antique and more lived in. My designer also added these sconces here. I think that makes it feel definitely more cozy with the ambiance of the lighting. And these little poofs down here, my cat Zookie, she loves to sleep here. She thinks that they're a cat bed. So when I'm looking for her, she's normally here. And now I'm gonna take you to our powder bath, which is right off our living. We did this fresh maidenhair fern in this bust here and put it on a pedestal. I love that it kind of mixes something alive with a really cool sculpture. I met my interior designer in 2021. She was helping me renovate a house a couple of years ago. And I remember when she came flipping through my house, I told my husband that I wasn't sure if I liked her very much, because I noticed I didn't have like a personal style, and I was still very young. So I was trying to develop that at the same time that I was meeting her. And she really helped me hone in on what I wanted just by taking me to different spaces, different showrooms, and just seeing how I felt there. And I noticed that whenever I had that mix of the modern with the antique, I felt most at home, or I felt the most expressed in my design. And she's really helped me create this house that feels very livable, but still kind of balances having areas for my son to use and not so sterile. So because we've been working together for a few years, she's become my best friend. And it's a huge part of why I love living in Dallas. And it's also been really bad for my wallet because she's constantly telling me things that I could add or change to my house to make it a little bit more me. But just feeling more at home in my house has completely changed the way I feel when I'm here. So it's been worth it. And right off the living is the powder bath. This has my favorite piece of art in here. I know, it's in the bathroom. For my husband's 25th birthday, I got this art commissioned by Captain Casual here in Dallas. I love pink and he loves bull riding. So this is actually a picture of him that's been painted onto this pretty cool abstract piece of art in here. And I think it just really pops with the color of the lime wash. So it lives in the bathroom. Everybody asks about it. That's actually a painting of Cooper. So I love to travel, I've talked about that a little bit, and instead of collecting cups and keychains, which I've done before, I wanted to do something that I could actually pass on to my son and his family for years to come. I'm starting a plate gallery wall. I've seen them all over Pinterest, but I wanted to put my own spin on it. So my friends actually bought me these for my birthday. These are 2 Hermes plates from 2 of their different collections that we put in these little gallery displays here. I'm gonna add a whole bunch more as I complete these sets of china, but I think everywhere I travel, I'm gonna buy a little special plate from maybe an antique shop or something that speaks to me and add on these walls, and maybe I'll even change them out for seasons or different types of holiday parties. This is the primary bedroom. I love this room. Another little play on adding a bunch of different color, not color drenching per se, but a lot of the same tones in this room makes it feel really monochromatic. And I notice that when I'm in a room like that, I feel more zen or at peace. So having that in my bedroom just made sense. And this entire room, we really based off of these amazing lamps. These chinoiserie lamps, I think, are so beautiful, and keeping that still dark colored tone that my husband loves, mixed with a bright and airy of all the taupes. And then I love linen. This is actually great for sleeping. It's so comfortable because it's very breathable. I cannot sleep somewhere that I'm not comfortable if it's too thick of a fabric. So if you're wanting to add something to your bed that looks more elevated but not stuffy, linen is the way to go. And a recurring theme with me, I'm taking a light fixture to another house if I love it. This light fixture has hung above my bed in 3 or 4 different houses. I love it so much. Another source from my best friend and designer, Rhody Holmes. So my favorite hotel in Paris is Hotel Coste or Costes. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And this candle, it smells exactly like their lobby. So I left there with 4 of these candles because they smell so incredible. Makes me feel like I'm right in Paris again whenever I light this and I'm getting into bed each night. And another feature that we put in this primary room, I wanted to look out of my window and actually see vines growing on a trellis. So this is a new addition that I can't wait to see how that blooms in the years to come. I love seeing that off my bedroom. That's it for the primary. Let's go to the next room. And this backyard is a little tiny. We knew that when we were moving to Dallas that we were going to have struggles finding a really large backyard. So when we bought this home, it was a complete blank space. We really elevated it the best we could in the parameters that we were given. And we started out by adding this marble 2-tone flooring here, which I think covering up the concrete made it feel so much more custom and a little bit of that European feel that I love to see. So this furniture here we added, mixing in the woods with the metal. We love this whole entire outdoor space. We use this every single day. We open up these doors and we're out here from as soon as my son gets out of school until it's time to go to bed. We're all out here all the time. My husband also loves to grill. My cowboy loves a good steak. So he spends a lot of his time out here grilling while we're chilling in the hot tub right here. So even though our backyard is pretty tiny, we still maximize the space, and we use this all the time, every day. It's our backyard. Home means a lot to me, but because we travel so much, I think you know when you feel at home. It's a sense of peace, it feels warm. I feel like I'm on vacation even when I'm at home because I'm so comfortable here. So being at home means everything to me, but most importantly, feeling like my family's here and everybody can live here comfortably without feeling too stuffy. Okay, Homeworthy, you've seen my house, but we've got a rodeo to get to. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.